Hey everybody, I'm Judy the YouTube Lawyer. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Tonight we kind of have like an open live discussion. So if anybody has some interesting questions or comments, please feel free to post it on the chat box. And I'm also going to share the link later. So if somebody actually wants to be on video, then you're more than welcome to join in and share your views. So we have a few cases that I'd like to focus on. The first one has to do with a California dermatologist who has been accused of slowly poisoning her husband with Drano in his drinks. So let's add this article to the screen. And I think it was Tony Lombardo that told me about this case first a few weeks ago when it first got all in the news in California. So, oh, okay. So you don't think they charge her yet? Yeah, because it does turn out that there is also an ugly divorce and custody battle that's brewing between the two. So, of course, as a divorce attorney, I certainly know that a lot of times people do lots of mudslinging when it comes to divorce and custody battles. So let's take a look over here. This is one of many articles from different news sources about it. It says that the California doctor, Yi, that's how you really pronounce it, but I guess everybody calls her Emily Yu, accused of poisoning husband with Drano, ordered to stay away from kids. So she's married to another doctor. She's a dermatologist, and her husband, I think, is a radiologist who's a little bit older than she is. And they have two young children. So it says here, Southern California doctor accused of poisoning her husband by spiking his lemonade with Drano was ordered by a judge Thursday to stay away from her two children. Dermatologist, Emily Yu, 45, of Irvine, who was allegedly caught on camera dosing Jack Chen, 53, wore a black skirt and a stoic facial expression during the divorce court hearing in Orange County. According to footage from Inside Edition, Dr. Chen, the husband, filed for divorce earlier this month. He had requested a restraining order to keep his wife away from their 7 and 8-year-old kids. Boy, that's really sad because the kids are so little. So there's a picture of them from the back in the courtroom where the judge ordered her to stay away from the kids. And there she is. After the hearing, Yu's lawyer claimed Chen made up the poisoning story in an attempt to get custody of their children. We believe, once again, that this was a setup, Wool told reporters. So that's her attorney. She did not use the Drano, and parents, to poison her husband. He said that the previous hidden camera footage actually showed Dr. Yu using the substance to unclog a drain in the kitchen of the couple's $2.5 million home. So anyone familiar with California real estate knows that a $2.5 million home doesn't seem that extravagant in that part of the country. So here she is looking pretty stressed out. A video had shown her holding a large red plastic bottle and pouring its contents into an object in early July. Okay, so the husband's attorney, however, says that his client suffered swelling in his esophagus and stomach ulcers after drinking the allegedly Drano-spiked hot lemonade. Okay, so this guy, he likes to drink hot lemonade, I guess. Or I thought maybe she had also allegedly added Drano to his tea. But bottom line is he started feeling that how come my drinks are tasting kind of weird? And he had an unexplained illness for weeks when he became suspicious and decided to set up a nanny cam in their kitchen. So this is part of that hidden cameras footage here where you can clearly see she's holding this big bottle. Sure looks like Drano to me. It says here it's a red plastic bottle, and pouring its contents into an object in early July. So she was arrested on suspicion of poisoning her husband on August 4th, and Dr. Chen filed for divorce the next day. So says the prosecutors were reviewing the allegations to determine whether to press charges. An Orange County District Attorney's Office spokeswoman said at the time. Okay, so I did read another article about this case where the husband and I guess his attorney were also accusing her of being very abusive towards him. Like, I guess apparently she wasn't massaging, or he wasn't massaging her well enough, so she got mad and started kicking him or hitting him or something. I mean, it sounds kind of wacky to me, but these kind of things happen when marriages break down. I mean, look at what happened with the Markel case. So, but of course, Dr. Chen is still alive. I'm not sure if he has any ongoing medical problems from the alleged poisoning. I think one of the articles also said that he alleged she was very abusive towards their two children, and she would hit and scream at the children, and her mother would also come and supposedly help take care of the kids and also be like slapping and hitting the kids and yelling at them, insulting them. Screaming and yelling at one of the kids because the kid didn't want to practice piano or didn't play the piano well enough. I mean, talk about tiger mom at its worst, if this is true. So, of course, could be that maybe the media has kind of died down now that we know that there's kind of like an ugly divorce custody battle coming, because, in these cases, a lot of times they don't get, it doesn't make the news because, first of all, divorce and custody battles are pretty commonplace. Every day you see multiple cases in the local county courthouses. So there's bound to be a lot of allegations going on, mudslinging at times, a lot of accusations of abuse and somebody being mean and cruel or physically abusive or emotionally abusive. So I think that could be why the media attention on this case has kind of died down by now. So I'll take that off the screen and see if anybody is out there. Thank you guys for joining in. You should have taken a massage lesson. No, it was actually, oh yeah. Okay, so from what I read, yeah, he was the one that was not giving her a good massage, so she got mad and started beating up on him. So, I guess I shouldn't be laughing. Sorry about that. Okay, must maintain professional demeanor here. Yeah, I would notice Drano in my drink. Yeah, so that is kind of weird. It's like, how come he didn't detect it? Did she put such a tiny little bit each time so that he couldn't really detect it? I think I read something about how finally what did he do? Like, there's something about him maybe putting saran wrap or something on a cup, or now I can't even remember. I mean, there's several articles out about this crazy case, but I think it happened over the span of at least a few weeks before he decided that he was going to install the nanny cam. So it's great that we now have modern technology so you can catch people in your household if they are trying to poison you. So her defense, from what I've read, is that she had legitimate reason to be using Drano in the kitchen because she was trying to unclog the kitchen sink. So is that legitimate or not? I mean, I haven't seen all the video footage out there and stuff, so I don't want to make total sweeping conclusory statements about this, since there are two sides to every story. But it does seem kind of fishy that if he really did have to go to the hospital or go seek medical care due to problems with his throat or ulcers or whatever, it sounds pretty fishy to me that she would be detected putting Drano in cups. So she's saying that was the way she used her Drano, was that to avoid splashing it all over the place, she would first pour it into a cup and then put it in the sink. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys all for being here. Thanks, Fancy. Thanks, Tony. 5car5. Yeah. Didn't the husband bail her out? Oh, did he? Okay, well, I'd be surprised given all the accusations against each other. So I'm not sure about that. Wouldn't she be wary of the cameras in the kitchen? Did she not care? Well, I mean, I'm not an expert in this, but I guess there are so many new types of technology where you can set up these little cameras. I mean, even many years ago, I remember hearing about like teddy bears, like fake teddy bears with cameras inside the stuffed animal that you could easily buy and put on a shelf to watch your nanny or whoever inside your house. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was able to find some way of installing a camera that's very hidden. Okay, too many abusive parents like that yelling and cursing at their kids to be super achievers. Yeah, I mean that I can believe that, but again, that's the husband's side of the story, was that the wife as well as the wife's mother were both abusive to the young children. Oh, okay. Well, that's very impressive. She's an MD and a PhD as well. Yeah, I looked it up. That sounds like she's from the St. Louis area, a very accomplished person who graduated from Washington University Medical School and then did her residency, I think, in Los Angeles, something like that. Oh, okay. It's okay, Judy. Thank you, Tony. Okay. Dr. Sav, thanks for being here. Lori Barrett, good question. The video camera could have been set up by the husband once he suspected something. Yeah. Did she dose him over weeks? Yeah, I think she did. Yes. But if you guys have really been doing a deep dive into this case and you want to tell us more info, feel free to let us know. Yeah, I mean, just based on what I've seen in the media, it does sound like, I do feel sorry for him, but who knows what she's got to say against him, right? Yeah, the medical evidence would definitely show if he was ingesting Drano. Yeah. We're allowed to laugh at dumb criminals, especially if the victim hasn't died. It's all, yeah, I wonder how he's been affected, though. Is he still able to practice medicine? Is he well enough to go to work? Yeah, I'm not sure. You're 5K and growing because people like you and your personality, Judy. Don't dim your light. Okay, thank you, Fancy. I appreciate you and all your support. You guys be sure to support Fancy Fiction's channel. So, yes, money does not bring happiness. Isn't that true from the cases we've seen? There are 3 sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing a cartoon a long time ago in some sort of book for lawyers, and it said something like, you will hear lots of crazy stories and crazy things in divorce court, including sometimes the truth. So, yeah. So let's see. Okay. My point exactly. Fancy. Imagine making the decision to kill someone, happens all the time, but still crazy to me. Yes, exactly. So I'm not sure if True Lifestyles is out there, but maybe you guys have seen one of her latest videos where she was talking about how her mother is still kind of a true believer in the Adelsons, because True Lifestyles, aka Susan, her mother feels like, how could any Jewish mother or Jewish grandmother possibly even think of murdering the child's father or the children's father? But it's kind of like, well, this is why I think maybe this is one reason why people are so into true crime or so fascinated by this whole Dan Markel Adelson murder for hire case, because it just seems so bizarre and kind of unnatural. And you'd like to think that people are not so cruel or so crazy to want to do these things, or think that killing someone is the answer to your problems when you have a divorce or custody case. But as we keep seeing in the news, and also not just recently, throughout history, I'm sure, there are plenty of cases where people just want to off their spouse or former spouse or ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, so you can't always assume that people are as nice and ethical as you are. So anyway, hopefully people that might wind up on the jury in Charlie Adelson's case will be able to see the depth of the I don't know what you call it, the mental problems, or I don't know, like just being a psychopath, that it is possible for some people to really have no empathy and to be totally self-centered and very, very tied and glued to their own family members or what their own desires are, to the point where they don't care. They don't see this other person as a fellow human being, much less fellow Jewish person. I mean, there was certainly no allegiance to Dan just because he was Jewish. In fact, they hated him because they thought he was a religious zealot. So anyway, that's just my opinion. So yeah, I guess there are some people out there who truly, just only see the good in people and can't believe that anyone would really do that to someone that they used to have a relationship with. Yes. If he did, I don't feel bad for him. Nanny Cam, yes. Hi, Judy. My career is in education, but been hooked onto your channel. Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching then. Let's see. Fancy says, really lazy because one should have a better way to solve breaking up with someone and just finding a way to make it work. Nuts. Yes, exactly. Since, in a lot of cases, people think they're going to get away with it, but then they don't. And then what? Is that worth being put in jail or being put in prison or who knows what other kinds of, loss of status? Even if you're found not guilty, then, your whole community, your support group will probably turn against you. And so, is that really worth it compared to just trying to move on with your life and trying to work things out like adults or having respect for the legal system? So, yeah. Good for him. Oh, the wife called him from jail and asked him to bail her out. He didn't. Oh, okay. Yes, very, very strange. But, I mean, I've been involved in so many god-awful divorce and child custody cases, though you just can't predict what's going to happen because there are situations where someone will accuse the other person of trying to kill them, but then they still get back together again. So, it's kind of like, okay, you're telling me what a horrible, god-awful person this person was, and then say like 6 months later, it's like, oh, we're reconciling. So, I mean, it's just a interesting practice area, definitely. True Lifestyles mom must have lived a very fortunate life not to see the evil in people. I have not been so fortunate. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, it's just like mind-boggling to hear about these stories and see to what extent people might be willing to just eradicate somebody else or just try to get their way through violent means. Yes. I heard that also from Susan's channel. My mom looked through rose-colored glasses. I'm way more cynical. Yeah, count me in as one of those cynical people, after seeing so many of these crazy cases and hearing things that happen to my own friends and family. Yeah. Okay, the South Carolina teacher killed her 8-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son, and then herself. She was going to lose custody of them. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I heard about that case. Was that recent? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, there's definitely been plenty of cases where people just even kill the kids too. Yeah, pretty awful. Hi, Judy and all. I would think that the evil Adelsons are shunned everywhere they go. Does anybody know? Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. I mean, that's what someone who lives around them said on one of the live streams or videos or something, but I think they probably still have some friends, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know since I'm not actually living down in Florida. So, yeah. Oh, your stomach hurts too. Okay, did you drink any bitter lemonade recently? Yeah. Okay, so let's move on from that crazy case involving the two doctors and the Drano and move on to the Rhoden Wagner case, which one of the commenters told me about. And at first, I didn't know what that person was referring to. But then once I started reading about it, then I realized, oh, yeah, I read an article about this case a long time ago when it first happened. So this is the case involving 8 members of a family in Pike County, Ohio, who were all massacred back in 2016, summer of 2016. And then it turns out that the other family, the Wagner family, had actually been plotting this whole massacre. They did surveillance on them. They figured out what their comings and goings were and their schedules, and they either fashioned or bought materials to make silencers because their plan was to go and ambush this family at night while they were sleeping. So And what did it stem from? Well, it was from a custody dispute over a 2-year-old little girl. And I mean, it's just like a pretty sordid and very strange story because apparently one of the deceased was Hannah Rhoden, and she started dating one of the Wagners, Jake Wagner. I guess that's his nickname. She started dating Jake supposedly when she was only 13 years old, and he's 5 years older than she is. And then when she was 15, she got pregnant with the little girl who was the subject of the custody dispute. And then soon enough, she realized this guy is like a nutcase and he's controlling. So she didn't want to be with him. And she had posted something on her Facebook saying that, she like the only time he would be able to get custody of the kid or something like that would be if she died. So unfortunately, that's what happened. But it's just so unbelievably cruel that the whole family, well, not the whole entire family, but multiple members of the Wagner family were involved in this plot to not just kill Hannah, but also, her family, her extended family. I think there was a cousin that got killed. Um, was it the father's brother or something like that? I mean, because most of the people were killed in the same area on the family's land, but then there was also another male relative that was shot in his home, which was further away. So I don't know why. Why would the Wagners want to kill so much of the extended family? I mean, that's what's crazy to me. Well, besides the fact that they totally stalked this Rhoden family and wanted to know all their comings and goings, to very meticulously plan out how they were all gonna just like crash into the mobile homes and go in there and kill them. So most of them looked like they were shot in their sleep. And what I found really disturbing was that when the bodies were discovered, 3 of the little kids were still alive. And one of them was a newborn baby that was covered in blood and still trying to nurse with, I guess, Hannah, who had just given birth to a baby with another man. So the 2-year-old girl that was at the center of this custody dispute, Sophia, was not there when it occurred. So she's still alive. I don't know who's taking care of her now. But boy, I mean, what a totally crazy, really weird, scary story here. So yeah, thank you, who said Kate. I really appreciate your support. Yeah. Okay, so you guys have heard about this case. Sordid is right. Murderous hillbillies. It is wild. Yeah, isn't that weird? Because usually the stereotype is that, if some guy's like a young teenager, he was only 20 years old when Hannah gave birth to their daughter, usually the guy doesn't care. He doesn't want the kid. He's happy to just, move on and sow his wild oats. Like he can have kids with other girls. So kind of strange. Yeah, another thing that kind of struck me reading about this case is that apparently the Wagners were really, really tightly knit, and they homeschooled their kids. They worked together, they shared their finances, shared their money, and any family decisions had to be made as a group where they would vote on things and stuff. So totally very enmeshed. So it kind of reminds me of what people have said about the Adelson family. So very interesting. So the trial for Jake's older brother is going to start on Tuesday. So that's why it's been in the news a lot lately. And just last week, the jurors were taken out there to, actually go out there and look around and see the site of the murder. And they're keeping it local. They didn't change the venue for this kind of trial. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for being here. Yeah, murder is everywhere. Exactly. That's why there are so many people on this channel that keep commenting or emailing me and telling about, look at this case, look at that case. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like so much craziness and murder and violence and stuff. I mean, I can't even keep track of it all. So I guess that's why there are so many true crime YouTube channels out there. There's a lot of material to talk about. This is a horrific case. Seems like the parents were very involved in the planning that allegedly took place months prior. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Very important. We do not tolerate it. Yeah, exactly. That's why we need to bring attention to these crimes too. Yeah. Jealousy and hate in this family. The girl had just given birth was what set it off. Oh, okay. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, it seemed like there were people in the Wagner family that had domestic violence accusations against them by exes, and they were all kind of controlling and freakish or something. So yeah, now they will spend life in prison together, all four of them. Yeah, so Jake, who was the father of the child at issue, is expected to testify against his own family members because he made a deal in order not to get the death penalty. So yeah, and he looked really young in the picture that I saw of him too. It's like, wow, your life is ruined. Do you really want to spend life in prison? I don't know. I mean, which is worse, death penalty or life in prison like that? Hi, I live close to Dr. Emily Yu. I was going to tell you about this case. Glad you are talking about. Oh, thank you. Had you ever heard of her? Yeah, it looked like she got some good reviews and some negative reviews as a dermatologist. Yeah. Okay, hello there, Judy, all the way from Vancouver. Interesting stuff. Yeah, thank you for tuning in all the way from Vancouver. I went there a few years ago. It's a really wonderful city. Okay, so that's the news about the case that's coming up next week. I think I'll probably watch some of it. It actually is really interesting as an attorney also to watch opening statements, see how the attorneys do. So that's a compound where they were all, or most of them were fatally shot back in 2016. They also found marijuana operations. So at first they thought the murders may have been drug related. Okay, yeah, so this is a picture of Edward, also known as Jake Wagner, being escorted by police officers into court back in 2018. Yeah. Oh, just a really awful case. I mean, just reading about it at first, it's like, what? Who? How come there are so many people involved? It's crazy. Yeah, hard to keep track of everything and how everybody was related. Okay, so let's move on to the case that most people have been totally addicted to, which is the Dan Markel murder case. So there's still more stuff to talk about. It's like there's just like so much. We could spend a whole week, just everybody giving their input and their views and everything. So what should I start with first? So I think I'll first share the Luis Rivera video that Mentor Lawyer at Deep Dive True Crime put up recently, just I think a couple of days ago. So a lot of this stuff, like he already put up on his channel, but that was ages ago before he got so many subscribers. So I really do appreciate the fact that James is working hard on this case in addition to all the other cases that he covers on his channel, Deep Dive True Crime. But sometimes it's good to just republish the same videos or maybe cut out a very important segment of a previous video from years ago, because back then hardly anybody saw it. I mean, I didn't even know about his channel until just a couple of months ago when somebody told me in a chat that I should check out Mentor Lawyer. And I was like, who is this guy? Huh? What? And then of course I just kind of got sucked in watching so many of his videos. So this is important because there's been a lot of debate as to, who was involved with the murder of Dan Markel and which members of Wendy Adelson's family, if not all of them, other than the brother Rob up in New York, which members were actively involved in conspiring to murder Dan Markel, as opposed to just maybe sort of knowing that it's about to happen. So this is just such an amazing video. Everybody should watch it. I've been watching it over and over and over again, probably watched it about 6 times, 7 times by now, but it's really hard because the volume is not good. So Luis Rivera is sitting all the way, far away from the microphone. And then he also mumbles and uses vernacular. So it's hard to make out what he's saying at times. And I'm pretty sure I saw this ages ago, but I didn't really pick up everything. So this is definitely worth watching multiple times. And I keep hoping that eventually the closed captions will work on this, sort of like Fancy Fiction's great videos where Sigfredo and Katie are talking and you can barely understand, like, what is Katie saying? What is Sigfredo saying? But then after a day or so, YouTube usually starts having that closed captioning working. So Luis Rivera here, back in October 2016, was talking freely to the investigators, and he mentions Wendy Adelson multiple times in this video. So he said that Sigfredo Garcia did know Wendy, and he seems very convinced that he and Sigfredo did see Wendy Adelson walking on Trescott Drive, which is the street where Dan Markel's house was, a day before the murder. Although, I mean, if he got it wrong, I mean, maybe it really wasn't Wendy, but maybe it was some woman that Sigfredo thought was Wendy. But bottom line is, Luis Rivera recalls that Garcia pointed out this woman and said, "There she is. There's the lady," or "That's Wendy," or whatever. And it could have been a different day because they did make 2 trips to Tallahassee to attempt to murder Dan Markel. Or I'm thinking it could have been another woman that Sigfredo mistakenly thought was Wendy. But that's very interesting. He also mentions that Katie kept telling them that they had to get it done. They got to get it done by Friday because the man Dan was going to be flying away or leaving. So they knew the urgency as to when Dan Markel had to be murdered. So later on in this video, you'll see footage of Luis Rivera sitting in a police car or police van, driving with at least one of the investigators, and Luis is just telling them what he and Sigfredo did. Like, this is where our car drove right up. After we followed him to the daycare, we followed him to the gym. Luis said that they didn't know the details about the gym, but they just followed him. So they just followed Dan, and that's how they knew where to go for the gym, and waited around for him, and then followed him back to his home, where Sigfredo got out and shot him in the head. So very interesting. I totally recommend that everybody watch that video. So it's called Hitman Driving Hit on Dan Markel, Wendy Adelson version 2. Yeah. So at first there were some audio problems, but I just listened to it again today, and it seems like audio is working. It's just that it's kind of hard to make out what Luis is saying, especially at the beginning. So, okay, I'll take a look at the comments in case I said something wrong. So let's see. Okay, murder, guns, illegal grow sounds like hillbillies. Yeah, that definitely sounded like it, the Wagner case. Yeah. Speed bumps, so glad he reposted. Yes, exactly. I don't mind seeing the same footage or the same stuff over and over again because, that's the way we really get to know the details about what happened. I mean, especially if it's stuff that he put on his channel like 2 years ago when he probably only had 200 subscribers and nobody really saw it. So, yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Mentor Lawyer, aka Deep Dive True Crime. Okay, ML Mentor Lawyer. That's his nickname. So somebody thought that his name really is Mentor. But his real name is James, and he's an attorney in Tallahassee who previously was a special prosecutor and has done lots of criminal defense as well as civil litigation. So Mentor Lawyer is a real practicing licensed attorney in Florida. Okay, so ML also had been reposting with little highlights, video editing of important parts, which is great. Yeah, exactly. Like also when he flashes up his own captions to highlight certain parts, that's really good because when you typically you see a long video, you kind of like don't really pay as much close attention, or it might be hard to understand the audio. So yeah, so he really tries to spice it up to get us to focus on some important points. Yeah, I believe Rivera. Yeah. I think in general he's credible, especially the things that he has a lot of detail about and things that were also corroborated by other means. Okay, the audio is seriously improved. I believe Lewis also. Yes. Fancy, we need some more wiretaps, please, please, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she did say she feels like a crack dealer because everybody's just like waiting and begging her for more wiretaps. I believe Rivera too. Rivera Wendy stuff. Man, the fact he even knows Wendy's name at the very least is damning if you think about it. One of the reasons it's hard to fathom smart people hear Rivera and then, yeah, to say like discount his testimony just because he got a deal. Well, even Jeremy Mutz or any other criminal defense attorney say, well, usually you have to work with these witnesses that aren't squeaky clean, that have criminal records. You have to work with what you have in terms of your witnesses. The guy you had on who's writing the book totally dismissed this as Lewis being mistaken. Yeah, I think he said something about how cell phone tower records showed that Wendy was not on Trescott Drive the day before the murder. And he said something about how there had been a motion before Katie's latest trial where even the state agreed that that wasn't true. So, I mean, that's just my recollection. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but I still think, overall, okay, well, so what if it really wasn't Wendy there on the street? I mean, what matters is that Sigfredo saw somebody, some woman on the street near Dan's house, and that's what prompted him to point it out to Lewis and say, there's Wendy, or there's that lady that wants her kids. And I think it was later Sigfredo or maybe Katie that said something about how, yeah, she wants to make sure that you guys are doing your job, or that she's not spending her money on nothing. So anyway, just based on my recollection. So some woman with kids was walking near Dan's house. Did the police canvass the neighborhood? I'm sure they did. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah, I would assume so. But, I don't have any real insider information about that. Yeah. Give Wendy the benefit of the doubt so easily. I think it was the June trip where they were paranoid buzzed, but Sigfredo called Wendy his homie, whether it was her walking or not. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hi, Debt-Free Dad. Thank you for being here. Debt-Free Dad also worked a number of years as a public defender in Durham. So he might have some interesting thoughts about these criminal cases too. Thank you. And please subscribe to his channel, Debt-Free Dad. Did Rivera's know Wendy's name? If so, that it's very telling. Yeah, he did say Wendy. Yeah, I mean, I still feel like I want to watch that over again and again, because it's hard to really catch everything that he's saying. Yeah, he's mumbling, and the microphone clearly is not anywhere near him in that room. When is the criminal trial set? Yeah, it should be sometime in the January to March timeframe. That's what the judge said at the case management hearing. Yes, and there's the Arthur hearing just next Friday, which True Lifestyles plans on going to, and I'm sure Mentor Lawyer is going to be there, so they'll probably have stuff on their channels then. Yes, the Arthur hearing. I think David Trons is done with his mental issue. Yeah, done with his mental issues. I wonder if people thought that he was lying about his mental issues. So that trial may start soon. So that's another, would you say that's another potential bad divorce situation where the man killed the wife? Yeah, just a kind of a crazy situation. Wait, wasn't that the love triangle case where he shot the lady's husband? Now I can't remember. There were just so many, or maybe I'm getting that confused with the Sabrina Lyman's case. Yeah. Is David Trons the one who strangled the wife or shot the guy in the head? Now I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Oh man, I've been reading about so many different cases, but then, I always come back to the Markel case though, because that's really the case that I care a lot about now. And there's a lot of news and a lot of things to talk about. Yeah. So, okay, so Fancy is going to do her wiretaps tonight for us addicted freaks. Yeah, thank you, Fancy. See, this is what we do on Labor Day weekend instead of going to the beach. Yeah, oh, you're the best. Must feed the beast. Yes, thank you. Flying my fancy freak flag here. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, I do think he was lying. Yes, he did. He beat and choked her. Oh, okay, so you're talking about David Trons. Okay, yeah, another crazy case from Florida. Yeah. Oh, David was. Oh, okay. Yeah. I watched some of his interrogation, and I was kind of half laughing at a lot of the comments too. So on Deep Dive True Crime, yeah, he has David's interrogation, and there was a female police investigator who was interviewing him, and it was so weird how sometimes he'd be crying woo, and sometimes his voice would be all high pitched and stuff, and other times he would use a low voice. Okay, yeah, so this is ringing a bell. Yeah, thank you. His 911 call is pitiful, David Tronis. Okay, yeah, thank you. He said he found her in the tub. Okay, yeah, but she was all beat up, right, and strangled. He's something else, that one, yeah. Yeah, sort of like that Michael Peterson case where the husband was on the down low and looking for men online. Yeah. Okay, so, okay, here's another thing I wanted to share with you guys, which I'm sure most of you guys who are really into the Markel case have already watched. So Fancy also focused on this. This I thought was hilarious in some respect. But can you believe it? The Court TV decided to cover this case. It had been quite a while since Court TV did anything about the Markel Adelson case. But on this show, thank you, Angela, for telling us about this, by the way, because normally, you know, I wouldn't be watching Court TV. So Vinnie Politano interviewed Jason Solomon, who many of you guys already have seen or heard of on other channels like Surviving the Survivor. He was a friend of Dan Markel's back when he was also a law professor in Georgia back then. I think that's when he met Dan. And so Jason spoke a bit about the case. And then at the end, they kind of surprised us with this special guest, Carol Lieberman, who, throwing the wife down the stairs, that was Michael Peterson. So I definitely read a lot about that because Michael Peterson, that case happened right here in Durham, North Carolina, not too far. Yeah, too many Petersons, right? Okay, so getting back to this, I'm not sure if it will really show up later on YouTube, or maybe I'll be hit with
This was some evidence in one of the trials where you have an email from Donna Adelson, Wendy Adelson's mother, the grandmother of the children. Okay, here it is. May 3rd, 2013. It's super important for the judge to get the message that this guy is a big bully. A hot temper and verbal abuse is what you need to emphasize that you suffered under his reign. The most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that that is your non-negotiable. Okay, so you can see how involved grandma is in all of this. Now, I also want to play for you testimony, because Wendy Adelson was given partial immunity to testify in the trial against Catherine McBanoa and Sigfredo Garcia. That testimony cannot be used against her in any future prosecution, although she can still be prosecuted for the crime if there's independent evidence. Take a listen to her testimony.
Do you know when you filed for divorce?
I believe it was the fall of 2012.
Okay, 9/10/2012 sound right to you?
That sounds right.
And when you separated initially in the fall of 2012, did you move to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
You didn't go to South Florida with the kids?
No, I did not.
Was it your desire during that time to move with the children to South Florida?
I would say right then, no, it wasn't.
Are you familiar with a court order ordering you to come back to Tallahassee from South Florida?
I'm not familiar with that.
When you moved out from the marital home there, you lived at another residence in Tallahassee, is that correct?
I did.
And do you recall the address there?
I do. 3303.
Okay. And was there a time during the time that you were living there that you determined that you would like to move to South Florida with the children?
There was.
All right. And were your parents very involved in trying to facilitate that relocation?
My parents were supportive of me moving to South Florida.
Would you describe your parents as being over involved in your personal business?
As compared to other people's parents?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Shot and killed. To me, there's compelling evidence here. These two guys who committed the murder, one of whom admitted to doing it, had no connection here. They had no reason to drive 500 miles. There's only one reason, and they're from South Florida. Who else is from there? I mean, 2 + 2 = 4 sometimes. But I think the toughest part of this equation for the public to accept is how long it's taken first to charge one Adelson and to only charge one Adelson at this point. Do you think it's possible that there will be more charges for more Adelsons, even if Charlie doesn't cut a deal?
I do. I think it's very likely that Donna Adelson, the mom, will be the next one charged, the grandma, essentially, of Dan and Wendy's kids. I think what the prosecution is doing is they're being fairly methodical about it. They're going one by one. Of course, there's the speedy trial rules, and so you have to, as soon as you charge someone, try them within a certain period of time. And so they're going after each one by one. So first they tried Katie McBonowa. Shortly before the most recent Katie McBonowa trial, they arrested Charlie Adelson so they could get ready to try him next. And I suspect after Charlie either pleads guilty or is convicted, which he certainly will be if he goes to trial, the evidence is overwhelming, then they will charge Donna Adelson. Let's also keep in mind there is as much or more evidence against Donna Adelson than there is against Charlie Adelson. Donna Adelson, number one, was the one with the motive, as is evidenced in those emails. She's the one who wanted her family all together so she could have access to her grandkids. She has grandkids with the older son, but she's estranged from her older son because she meddled in his life too much. And not only that, but Donna Adelson is the one, as you referenced earlier, who wrote checks to Katie McBonowa immediately after the murder as if she were an employee of the Adelson Dental Institute. There's no dispute that she was not an employee of the Adelson Dental Institute. No one ever saw her there. And so Donna Adelson was right in the middle of this, and the prosecution, given all the evidence they've presented against her, has to charge her. And I think they will either just before Charlie's trial or just after.
And you know, Dr. Carol Lieberman, this is so similar to the allegations in this upcoming trial on Court TV, the Pike County murders, where again, it's the mother, sort of allegedly pulling the strings here, getting this whole thing in motion and not just battling it out in a courtroom or coming up with some sort of compromise, but, planning and plotting a murder. Those are these allegations. It's unreal. Where does that come from in a mother?
Well, it's the mother hen, wanting to sort of grandmother children, wanting that bond, wanting to keep their chicks together. But, that was the thing that Dan did that really kind of tipped this over when he tried to take the children, stop the grandmother from seeing the children. That is what really got her to be so angry and to, and both
actually, he just wanted it supervised.
Feel that they're above the law. That's what's so interesting. In the Pike case and in this case, even though they're very different, I mean, here they didn't go and kill 8 people, but the mothers have this sense that, they can do whatever. They're in their own little world and they want their kids or their grandkids and they're going to get them back.
Dr. Carol Lieberman is going to stay with us for the rest of the hour. But Jason Solomon, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Always great to speak with you. And again, I feel bad for your loss of your friend, Dan. And if you speak with the family, please send our best to them.
Thank you.
The hair.
Okay, so hopefully you guys could all hear that, but that clip that Fancy Fiction put on her channel was focusing on Dr. Carol Lieberman's statement about Wendy being like Amber Heard. If Amber Heard had a law degree, she would be like Wendy Adelson. So I thought that was a really interesting quote. Dr. Lieberman is a forensic psychiatrist who has testified in different court cases as an expert. So hopefully Surviving the Survivor or one of the other channels can get Dr. Lieberman as a guest if she has time to comment more on the Dan Markel Adelson case. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah. Okay, so as some of you guys noticed, I had to take down my proposed reading of the Lacoste investigations just because I talked to another person who basically, as I guessed, you know, Lacoste does not want that information out. It's very traumatizing and stuff. So just out of respect, so we're not gonna do a deep dive into all the nitty gritty, but it's definitely very interesting information that will probably all come out in a future trial or so. Let's see, the way Wendy responds to questions drives me crazy. She never gives a straight answer to questions. They let her get away with it. It's exhausting. Yeah, but that's because, you know, I guess the prosecutors just needed to lay a background for the jurors. And I'm sure all the jurors saw through that and realized that, you know, how come this person can't even really remember her address that she lived at when she was in Tallahassee, or couldn't answer the questions straight. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I remember reading about this. Rob's wife was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Wendy was on, I think Wendy was on The Weakest Link. Yeah. Glad to hear. Yeah, that's what Dan's friend predicted. Respect for Lacoste, yes. I recall during cross-examination of Wendy, the defense lawyer asked who on this planet would want Dan dead other than the Adelsons. She had no reply to that. That's right. You know, what happened to all the people that she was pointing fingers at before years ago? Hi, Mimi. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so anyway, after speaking with someone that's connected with the case, I decided, okay, sure, we don't really need to go into a deep dive with all the Lacoste police interviews. I know everybody's really interested in that, but there were a lot of potentially embarrassing things that were contained in there, or things that are kind of, you know, kind of lurid, I would say. Yeah, Wendy is very calculating. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've heard from other people. So let's bring up one more additional thing, which is, in case you guys are not subscribed yet, please subscribe also to Surviving the Survivor. As you saw, Joel Waldman was willing to participate along with True Lifestyles in helping to read the deposition of Wendy Adelson. And we're going to continue doing that on Tuesday at 5:30. And we're almost done. We probably have about 58 pages left. So this is a really great interview. I've watched it a few times already also. And Jeremy Mutz is someone who had worked as a prosecutor for 12 and a half years. And turns out he was actually fired by Willie Meggs over some issue where I think Jeremy Mutz was possibly writing a book about the Sims murder, which is a murder that happened way back in the 60s. And I don't know exactly what really happened, but Willie Meggs got mad at him and fired him. So I know this because on Deep Dive True Crime, again, there's like so many gems of videos of his that haven't gotten many views because he did them years ago when nobody knew about his channel. So, Mentor Lawyer has this interview from more than 2 years ago with Jeremy Mutz where, you know, the production value isn't that good. I guess this was before Mentor Lawyer discovered StreamYard or Zoom. But the content of the interview with Jeremy Mutz is really great because he goes in detail about what it's like to be a prosecutor, you know, what makes a good lawyer. He said that actually someone who has worked as a prosecutor before would make the best criminal defense attorney because you have to go in looking at both sides. You have to be objective. You can't really just be all gung-ho and be a diehard true believer. That's not good for either side because you have to be able to still be objective and know whether to advise your criminal client, whether to try to take a plea or work out some sort of plea bargain. So he said that in his experience, about 90% of all criminal cases result in some sort of deal so that they don't go to trial. And so it's very good to have an experienced attorney who knows how to negotiate these deals in criminal cases and talk to the prosecutors to work out the best deal for the client. So that's what I got from Mentor Lawyer's very, well, I wouldn't say very old, but sort of old interview with Jeremy Mutz. And towards the end of that interview, they do talk a little bit about the Dan Markel case, although Jeremy didn't directly work on the Markel case before he was fired back in 2016. So anyway, let's see. So Surviving the Survivor, I'm not going to play the thing, but you guys can totally go on their channel. And again, that's Joel Waldman and his mother, Dr. Carmela Waldman, who are the hosts. And let me think back. So what were the interesting things that Jeremy Mutz said at this interview? Well, he agrees with me, as well as other attorneys, that it is very, very unlikely for Charlie Adelson to be let out pending trial. You know, in his pretrial release motion, his attorney was saying that, oh, you know, he's not a flight risk. He has no criminal history. He has no history of legal issues. We know that's not true. And basically says that, oh, you know, he should be allowed to have home confinement because otherwise, you know, poor Charlie isn't going to be able to work with his attorneys as well, reading through all these documents and meeting with his attorneys if he's stuck in jail. So they want to let him out. And that big hearing, the Arthur hearing, is going to be next Friday in the morning with the same judge, Judge Wheeler. So anyway, so Mutz also says that, yeah, you know, pretty unlikely. And he also, what else did he say? Oh, geez, now I'm drawing a blank, but please watch the interview. I thought that it was really good in terms of, you know, getting the perspective of someone that actually does criminal defense. He also agreed, which, you know, I've mentioned before, that there was no duty to warn. So just simply knowing that Dan is going to get murdered, or that, you know, family members are plotting against Dan, cooking something, you know, unless there was some sort of affirmative act or overt act that the person did in furtherance of the conspiracy to murder or to help the murder, if that can be proven, then otherwise, you know, certain people could get away with it just by simply knowing about the murder but not warning Dan that he was going to be killed. So really, really great interview. I think this video deserves a lot more views, and of course, Surviving the Survivor should get more subscribers too. I think they just got monetized, so please support them also. Oh, okay, thanks, Dan. I hope Donna is watching the stream. Well, it might give her too much anxiety, and she'll be running to the bathroom all night. Yeah, Judy, loved your windy eyes the other day. Okay, well, thank you very much. Somebody was very offended by that and said I was a disgrace to the legal profession. Yeah, Wendy is very calculating. Oh, okay, sorry, I'm jumping around with the comments. So glad Willie Meggs is retired and living on a turkey farm, far from the state attorney's office. Yeah. But ultimately, you know, he did say to the media years ago that you only get one shot, you only get one bite at the apple. So in a way, it kind of did work out, because can you imagine, you know, what if back in 2016 that they had arrested Charlie, then that means they wouldn't have gotten more evidence on him. And who knows, maybe Charlie still could have been found not guilty. I don't know. I mean, in a way, it's kind of great that he's such a jabbermouth and continued screwing over so many people in the last 6 years that there's probably a lot more evidence that can be used against him if there is a trial, compared to if he had gone to trial back in, say, summer or fall of 2016. Yeah, but there's another video out there on YouTube which someone had emailed me a link to, but I couldn't find it again. But it was from some sort of local Florida news station from years ago, maybe say 2016 or so. And it was a very short clip of the same guy, the same attorney, Jeremy Mutz, basically saying very boldly that, you know, Willie Meggs had basically shut down the investigation of the Adelsons, I believe. And he was very candid in criticizing Meggs, saying something about how even the police officers wanted to arrest Charlie Adelson, and the police wanted to, you know, move forward with the arrest, or maybe it had to do also with warrants or something. But basically, Meggs allegedly threatened the police officers too, that, you know, maybe they would be disciplined or lose their jobs if they tried to execute the warrant. So Anyway, I think this guy seems like a really great attorney. If anybody out there should find themselves in criminal problems down in Florida, I think this guy would be a great attorney to hire. So his name is Jeremy Mutz, and he has his own law practice now in Florida. So anyway, it's great to hear from him, somebody that's a true insider that knows about criminal law down there. Joel and Carmela are absolutely wonderful. Love their style. Yeah, thank you for supporting their channel. Who said Donna may be arrested soon? Is there new info? Well, I don't think there's any new info that's publicly available, but that was just a prediction made by Jason Solomon, who's a former UGA law professor and a friend of Dan Markel's. So he was on that CourtTV broadcast just how many days ago was it? Maybe about 3 or 4 days ago. So that's on CourtTV. Okay, yeah, Karma on Crime, yeah. Yeah, Wendy is shady. Jason Solomon said he thinks that on the CourtTV clip Judy showed a few minutes ago. Yeah. Okay. Wendy is swarmy. Okay. Hey, Mentor Lawyer is here. Hey, thank you so much. Okay, I disagree. Wendy had a duty to her children, and the children lost with the loss of their father, money, care, etc. Yeah, but from a legal standpoint, though, is it your opinion that she legally still had a duty to report if she knew that there was a plot to murder Dan Markel, even if she didn't actually participate in it? I don't know. I mean, maybe you should make a new video about that or do your own live stream about that, because people just can't get enough of this case. So Mentor Lawyer is here, and I thank you so much for your dedication to the Markel case, and I've learned a lot watching your videos. Yeah. Charlie is getting earbuds with a device to listen to all the wiretaps. Yeah, he got that MP3 player so he can sit around listening to himself all day. No new info, just commenting on the video Judy showed. The guy suggested Donna will be arrested when Charlie goes to trial. Yeah, yeah. So these are definitely, just our predictions. Yeah. Hello, Mentor Lawyer. I hope Mentor Lawyer reacts to this interview as well. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting also to hear his thoughts. I think Donna's turn is coming. Yeah, I think a lot of people want that. Yeah, thanks, Angela. Hope so, Tony. Hi, I did not realize Judy was live. No one is watching. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I took away your audience. Oh, well, I'll be sure to watch your video as soon as I get off of here. Okay. So you can get, and I watch all your ads. I watch your videos multiple times, and I always let the ads roll so you can make your ad revenue, even though I am not a paid member of your channel. So yeah. Okay. So we'll quit soon so the people will go over to your channel and watch your latest video. Sorry about that, ML. Yeah, okay, no notification, ML. Oh, yeah, it is. YouTube is so weird because even for channels where I click that little bell button to get all notifications from channels, a lot of times I still don't get notifications of new videos. Yeah, good to see you, ML. Jeremy Mutz, Justice for Dan. Thanks, Laser Wolf. Okay, Judy, that was a CourtTV segment. Okay, the most asked question. Oh, okay, so you're talking about your channel then? Yeah, okay, well, thank you. So we've already exceeded an hour, so, okay, more comments. Okay, Mutz unloading on camera. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Thanks for the information. Okay, Mutz is a great guy. I agree with Judy. My interview with, okay, so you heard me saying that. Yeah, because you were basically, you could see the reflection of your cell phone or your cell phone captured in the corner where you're recording your own laptop while talking with Jeremy Mutz. Okay, I disagree with him if he said Wendy had no duty if she knew. Okay, well, we'll see if the prosecution tries to go after her for some other charges then. Yeah. I doubt Charlie Adelson will take a deal. He's so arrogant. Yeah, I believe he will go to trial. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I just don't know. But he totally looked different and not full of his machismo and arrogance when he showed up in court, just looking kind of sickly and scared. One of the interviews I saw said Meggs was simply intimidated by going up against top Miami attorneys. Yeah, that is weird. But I mean, but look at Zanganeh and Tara Kawas and Christopher DeCoste. I mean, well, are they considered top Miami attorneys? I don't know. I mean, somehow I doubt that, but who knows? Everybody's got an opinion, right, as to why he didn't do anything. Yeah, the info about Chuck's arrest and his fortified residence was enlightening. Yes, so definitely, at least he was suffering for quite a while. And as you probably heard in June's interview, he was paranoid and he was having anxiety attacks or just suffering from so much anxiety, worrying that he was going to get arrested, that he had to take Xanax. And he'd fly into rages and just leave the house and, getting all mad and upset over things and throwing her stuff out in the yard and throwing water on her. Yeah. So this has definitely taken its toll on him mentally for the last 6 years. Yeah, so I'm saying I would argue that there is a legal duty to report if you know someone is going to kill the father of your children. Okay, yeah, okay, well, we'll see. I mean, because I was just thinking, like, even if they couldn't go after Wendy for murder or conspiracy for murder, how about something, like he said, like failure to warn or obstruction of justice? I'm not sure, since obviously I don't practice criminal law in Florida either. Okay, Judy, regarding that statute, you will that one can't be charged as an accessory if you're close. Oh, okay. That's only for minor crimes, I heard. Okay, well, that would be great. Yeah, definitely, because a lot of people are saying, certain people should be charged as accessories. Okay. Okay, just like there would be a duty if someone was hired to kill her children. Well, that I can understand, if it's your own children, but in terms of your ex-spouse, I don't know. I mean, yeah, criminal experts. Yeah, I will listen to people who do criminal law. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, so Mentor Lawyer is telling people it's okay to stay here. Okay, well, even you are now on my channel, so thank you, Mentor Lawyer. Okay, people can watch the replay. Okay, yeah, I'll watch your video as soon as I get off of here. Well, I know Donna deserves to be jailed, but at her old age, spending the rest of your life in jail will be horrible. Well, too bad. Yeah, I should have thought about that sooner, back when she was like planning to get rid of Jeppers. Yeah. Court TV case against the in-laws. Oh, okay, October 9th, 2019. Okay, so you're saying there's an episode back in 2019. Okay, I gotta look at that. Boy, I'm spending way too much time on this case. I got real work to do, so I'm late. I have a question. Okay, what's your question? And that'll probably be the last question. So feel free to type it in the chat box if you want to right now. Okay, so I guess while I'm waiting for River to type in his or her question. Okay, there you go. Okay, Epstein talked about the one rogue juror in the first Magbanua trial. Could the other jurors have alerted the judge when that juror indicated she was ignoring the court instructions? I think so, but I don't know. Does Mentor Lawyer want to answer that? Yeah, you would think so. I mean, to tell you the truth, this is another thing that I want to watch, but I haven't had time to so far. I want to watch that video that Deep Dive True Crime has, where he interviewed that juror that wanted to let Katie Magbanua go free. And just from comments from other people that have been watching this case, they were all very appalled by this person and thought she didn't seem to have all her, I don't know, have all her marbles or whatever the euphemism is. Yeah, so that's something I want to watch there too. Oh yeah, it wasn't just one. There were 2 or 3 jurors in the hung verdict. Yes. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure of the answer to that. I think yes, but once again, the disclaimer is that I am not licensed to practice in Florida. So, okay, so the next live stream show is going to feature our frequent commenter, Tony Lombardo, again. And on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, she's going to help me read some of the filings, the relocation filings in the case that Dan Markel and Wendy Adelson had back in, I would say, yeah, that must have been 2013 when she filed her motion to relocate. So it's nice to have some people out there that have volunteered to help me out with reading and everything, especially since people often said that they couldn't stand my voice and I'm getting all croaky and can't keep talking. So yeah, okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you guys for joining in. I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll be back on Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Take care. Thanks for being